so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life? Well, that's another, which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week to help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host, Brandon Beecham. I'm the reflection and extension of you who will be here each Wednesday interviewing a different consciousness changemaker. And on the other 4 weekdays, leading the way to ensure that your perspective is consistently expanded, your vibration is constantly elevated, and your heart is overflowing and full. Also, before we jump into today's episode, I'd like to take a moment to tell you about a few sponsors that not only help to make it possible to produce this show 5 days a week, but that I'm also genuinely passionate about promoting, especially since they're helping to fund all the cool projects we have in the works, such as the Positive Head app, the docuseries that I'm intending to begin shooting within the next year, and whatever else we dream up over here at Positive Headquarters to help spread consciousness across the planet. Now, if you're short on time or just super excited for today's topic and want to dive right in and skip these ads, feel free to fast forward about
4 minutes
to get right into today's show. That being said, I strongly encourage you to listen because the reason I'm passionate about my sponsors is because they've made a huge impact in my own life, which is why I've aligned with these organizations. And I firmly believe they can do the same for you too. The first longtime stellar supporter of the show that I want to mention is Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online with over 8,000 video titles. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. The second sponsor I'm extremely passionate about promoting is Purium. It's no mystery that bringing your mind, body, and spirit into balance is necessary if a person truly intends to manifest the greatest and greatest version of themselves. And as of recording this, it's been about 4 months since I started taking the Purium Core 4 superfood products every day. And I can honestly and sincerely say my mind, body, and spirit have never felt more in alignment. If you've been looking for a way to easily get superfoods into your system every day with a simple plan that can help you reestablish a healthier foundation and relationship with food, I cannot recommend for you to start with the Purium 40-Day Ultimate Nutrition Plan, which includes a 10-day metabolic reset and cleanse enough. I spent personally months researching Purium before I jumped in, and now myself and over 150 other positive heads have started with the 40-Day Ultimate Nutrition Plan, and many of us have continued taking the Core 4 products on an ongoing basis daily ever since. I personally intend to take them for the rest of my life because they played a huge role transforming my vibrational state. If you decide to do it, it'll cost you just over $7 a day for the first 40 days and only about $5 a day after. But if you do it the way that I recommend you to do it, the smartest and most beneficial way, it won't cost you anything. I recommend you to just look at where you can reallocate money you are already spending on food each day. Essentially, you're just going to swap out the unhealthiest stuff you're in the habit of purchasing in exchange for Purium superfoods. And this way, it costs you nothing to participate in the transformation and cleanse. And it creates exponential benefit because now you've replaced something that lowers your vibration with something that is going to make you feel super high in the healthiest kind of way. Just take a few minutes, see where you can cut out $5 to $7 a day and commit to doing it. It's that simple. Also, for support, we'll be doing a big group transformation with other positive heads and soul family once each month for support. So I recommend, going right now, ordering your 40-day Ultimate Nutrition Plan bundle so that you have it when the next group transformation starts. Procrastination is not your friend. Order it now. You can thank me later, because I can assure you, you will not be sorry you've decided to send a message to the universe that you're ready to step up your vibrational game and reclaim your health sovereignty. Just head over to ishoppurium.com. That's spelled ISHOPPURIUM.com. Be sure to use the code POSITIVEHEAD, all one word, for either $50 off or a 25% discount, whichever is greater. And also, if you want to learn more details about the Purium products, why I'm so passionate about promoting them beforehand, you can go check out several videos I shot discussing these things in greater detail. You can also hear my interview with the very inspiring founder, David Sandoval. Much, much more over at positivehead.com/transformation. All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. It is a terrific Tuesday here in the studio as I record. So appreciative to have the chance to learn, explore, grow with all of you. Here we grow again. And there's definitely been some growth edge, some contrast developing in the Positive Heads Facebook group, which, by the way, if you're not there, I love to see your beautiful, shiny face. It's a great place to connect with other listeners and ask questions. And it's a private group, so you can, open up for anything that you don't want to necessarily share with the rest of the broader Facebook world, if you will. And typically it's a very, very supportive, loving, beautiful place. And there's been a personality that has caused a bit of a ruffle. And I'm actually quite grateful for it. I'm very appreciative, because it's anytime something is stirring the pot, if you will, it's causing you to really look at the contrast. Look at, what is this showing me about myself? What can I learn from this? And I've been doing a lot of that. And for that, I'm super, super appreciative for what's going on over there. And and for those of you who haven't been a part of it, it's a former guest who sort of has a very, I guess some would say, abrasive or aggressive approach. I want to really stay away from labeling, but if you look at sort of some of the behavior and definitions of things out there, certainly a lot of people have made comparisons to the idea of gaslighting or narcissism, and that sort of thing. This person definitely feels strongly that they have a lot of wisdom to share with everyone in the group, including me, and it's basically proclaimed that they're there to teach me something. So that being said, I'm all about learning and growing, and I certainly, things that are challenging, it certainly triggered me a few times in the few weeks that this is all unfolding. So I just want to really make get the most out of the experience. And I want the listeners, the people that are part of the group, to get the most out of the experience, but also don't want to push something beyond its shelf life of value, if you will. It's sort of like someone wrote, at what point, if someone comes into your house and starts slapping people, do you just continue to turn the other cheek, or find a way to get them sort of out of the situation? So it's a great question, right? Where do we draw the line with these sorts of things? And wow, for the opportunity to explore that topic, I'm super, super appreciative. For me, one of the things that's been the most where I've really been questioning myself the most is this person sort of keeps proclaiming, Brandon, from the moment you met me, you had a judgment about me. And this person claims, that they have these incredible, one-of-a-kind gifts to unlock people and, sort of lead them to a mass awakening, or a next level awakening, unlike anyone else can do on the planet, right? That's sort of the claim. And and so what they're basically saying is, hey, Brandon, you had this judgment about me from the get-go, and that's why you're not receiving any benefit. And, I can't actually argue with that point, because from the moment this person started interacting, it felt like something felt off, right? And a lot of people have said that same thing, right? So then it leads me down the trail of, okay, but at what point, if there is no out there, where is the difference between intuition and creating someone? As you guys have heard me say many times, there is no out there. It's all props in your movie. Everything's neutral by design, and they sort of show up based off of your beliefs and your perceptions of them. And certainly this person has 100% gone beyond in demonstrating themselves and showing up in a way that even surpassed my initial sort of instinct that something was off. Like I said, I want to try and stick away from labels, but if you were to look at the textbook definitions of gaslighting or spiritual bypassing or narcissism or any of those things, I think 99% of people would probably say, okay, yeah, check on these boxes, right? So, but, where I keep coming back to for myself is how much of this is created by me in a sense, right? And so it's such an honor, and I'm so grateful to be able to explore and try and understand this further. And just to give a quick example, so you guys have heard me talk about it before. There's a story that you can find on the internet, and it's about years ago when Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie were still married, and supposedly, I don't know if the story's true or not, but that the principle remains, and the gist of the story remains is, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie had hit the rocks. Things were awful. She was anorexic. They were not getting along at all. The end of the relationship was in sight. Like he knew it was over. Like it's rocky. And then he all of a sudden had this realization that, hold on, she actually shows up the way I create her, where I focus my energy and attention is what I'm going to see more of, right? And so he started only focusing on the things he loved about her, he started bringing her roses, just ignoring any of the things that he didn't want to see more of. And supposedly, and according to the story, she had this radical transformation, and all of a sudden their relationship completely reblossomed, and she was no longer anorexic, and he had kind of created her, if you will. And so that really supports this idea that, like, hey, this is all props in your movie. People are showing up based off of the way you expect them to show up. So, so yeah, that is the rabbit hole of exploration that this experience has really led me on. And at the same time, I want to protect the group. Many feel, it is escalated to a point that is like really destructive, and certainly not feeling as much like a safe space as it once was. And so, as the moderator of the group, I have all those things to consider as well. So anyway, as it stands now, we put out, with the blessing of this individual, which I really appreciated. I want to be respectful, and because I do appreciate the growth. Regardless of the tumultuous nature or any of it, I know it's happening for me, right? Not to me, and through me in some way. And so, I asked this person, okay, I'm going to put forward in the group, if you're okay with it, a vote to see. I don't want to be a dictator in the group, even though I created it. Should he stay or should he go, or should we even do a Facebook Live and maybe talk these things out? Him and I, sort of both of us having the opportunity and it's something that I'm considering, but I'm also considering, like, okay, am I giving this person more space to sort of weave, as many people have messaged me saying, weaving division and causing just dismay and, chaos, right? That's sort of the nature of what this person appears to be doing to many. So I'm really still weighing all those things out. And as this show, as you know, this show is me just always, what's happening, what's bubbling up for me? How do we all take and analyze it and learn from it and grow together? And, I truly believe we all teach best what we most need to learn. And so I'm definitely learning something from all of this. And it's still, it's still ongoing. We're in the middle of it now. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of share that. And I do feel it will come to a conclusion, sooner than later. What I may do is do a conversation with him privately and then determine if a benefit to release it, and if not, as opposed to a Facebook Live, if he's willing, which I think he probably would be. So I don't know. I'm still debating, but I definitely don't want to reinforce, how I deal with this is important because it's setting sort of, an example. How do anyone in the group, how do you deal with someone coming into your space and if it's destructive? Okay, where do you draw the line between I'm creating it and I need to remove myself from the situation? So I've called in a little help here to analyze this further, this very nuanced, powerful rabbit hole that we are all co-creating together. I just want to stress to everyone out there, let's just keep it as light as possible with it all. Let's not get too caught up in all the emotional hooks. A lot of emotions have been coming up in threads there, unlike anything that's happened in 2.5 years. And so, let's just really look at it as like, there's some sort of opportunity for growth here, and this too shall pass. If you're not happy about what's happening, like anything, it's like I say all the time, we're eternal beings. We've always been, we always will be. Change is guaranteed. So we will definitely find our way through this. And I truly believe no matter what the outcome, we'll all be better for it. So what I'd like to do at this time is take a few minutes to check out a clip from my favorite teacher, who ironically part of the issue is this person has had not necessarily positive things to say about Abraham Hicks. I happen to think, Abraham is one of the most powerful teachers I've come across. And with these particular clips, I've actually got 2 clips here I want to share. And the first one is called "Are Narcissists in the Vortex?" The one after that is called, and I found it on Eternal Joy YouTube page. And then the next one is entitled "Walking Away Completely," and I found it on the Infinite Intelligence YouTube page. So let's take a few minutes here and listen to both of these, and then I'll speak to them.
So bring us back around to where we are.
Well, I realized that when I was up earlier, I was much more prepared in what I wanted to ask, and I feel in a good way less prepared now because I'm trying to get at deeper questions, and I started with abstract questions, and I guess part of why I brought up this phenomenon of narcissism was because I have trouble sometimes staying in my center with other people, especially people that have very strong wills.
Well, let's make sure we're all talking about the same thing here. So, do you believe that there is something inappropriate with a person being confident?
Yeah. I mean, I know that's not the right answer, but if I look at how I behave and how I feel around people that are confident or very set or strong in what they want or who they are.
Well, don't get carried away just with what we mean. In other words, is confidence something that you would want for yourself or for someone you care about? Would you rather someone be confident or insecure?
Confident.
Would you rather be confident or insecure?
Confident.
Would you rather feel frisky or afraid?
Frisky.
Would you rather feel security or insecurity?
Security.
Would you like to be tuned in, tapped in, turned on to the source energy that is you, or would you like to be diminished from it in some way? Now, we're, of course, obvious. So we're just laying a little basis here. So when you feel confident, do you acknowledge that what that means is the thoughts that you are thinking during the time of feeling confident are not contradicting anything that the broader part of you knows or feels. And so you are, in that moment of confident thought, causing no separation between you and you. Would you agree with that?
I would agree that that's true confidence. I guess I feel like I also have an experience where sometimes I habitually act confident, which doesn't necessarily mean that I'm aligned in that way.
Well, we're not talking about any of that. In other words, that's why we said we think that it would be helpful if we all get talking about the same thing. And what we really want to say to you is you have no accurate way of knowing whether someone else is in alignment with who they are or not. Usually, someone who is in alignment is confident and kind. In other words, the more stability you feel, then the more leeway you have for others. In other words, if you see a child just learning to walk and it clumsily falls down, you don't shout, "Get up, you little dummy." In other words, you from your place of knowing you can walk and from your place of knowing that the child will be able to too, you don't freak out because in this moment it's not walking. And so when our point is that when you are in alignment with who you are and therefore in alignment with the resources of Source, in that stability you are not self-conscious of what someone else thinks of you, nor are you critical when you are looking at others. In other words, the reason that people get freaky or freak out at the behavior of others is because they incorrectly believe that that behavior of that other can somehow be upsetting to their own apple cart, and it cannot. In other words, the whole world could be upside down and out of step, and if you've managed to maintain alignment with who you are, all you would feel would be a desire to assist the others or an understanding that they are temporarily out of balance, but you wouldn't feel threatened by their imbalance. And so what we are wanting to have a conversation about is that as narcissism goes, we are for it in the sense that we would like, first of all of you are born as confident, secure, self-serving beings. And by selfish, we mean you can only perceive through the perspective of self. And that's a good thing because as you are perceiving through the perspective of self, it is your desire to feel good. And when you desire to feel good, you will in time align yourself with the energy of your source and stability and power in order to feel good. And when you do that, you could only ever then add value to the world. You'll never find someone connected to Source who's acting out in violence against another. It just doesn't happen. When you are in alignment, you don't attract that sort of thing. You don't look for it and you don't find it, you see. So we just wanted to lay some basis here because it's easy and a lot of people are throwing words around and when we get off on a basis that is not valid, then any conversation that we have is not meaningful.
I guess part of the struggle I have is that
Struggle I have with what?
People.
The struggle I have with other people.
The struggle I have with some other people.
But why would you let someone else be so important to you that you would label them a struggle?
I know, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
No.
And we think the only reason that you would do that is that you think their behavior, their conformity, their something that they're doing must be necessary for your own survival or your own well-being. And that's the thing that we're trying to convince you is not accurate. In other words, the only thing that makes up your experience is the vibration of who you really are and the vibration of who you're being and the relationship of the two. And everyone else is irrelevant to your stability. Really. Now, what the part that they play is they've come forth. You all have come forth to interplay with one another because they provide the contrast that helps you to ask. So if you see behavior in others that is upsetting to you, all it does is make you ask for something more. But when what you're asking for is for their behavior to be different, you're completely out of control. Where if what you're asking of yourself is that you selectively sift through the data and choose different thoughts to think, you've got control of your own alignment. Let's be blunt. Control of your own alignment is the only control you've got. Let's be blunter still. Control of your own alignment is the only control you've got, and it's all the control you need. Because if you're in control of where you focus, you're in control of your alignment. If you're in control of your alignment, you're in control of your point of attraction. So if you're in control of your point of attraction, it doesn't matter what other odd by your standard things people are doing out there. They're not part of your experience. So we know you get it or seem to agree with us theoretically. Now let's talk specifics. So what is it that's bothering you about some other people? Causing this inner struggle within you? Is it their response to you?
Well, at this point, I feel that I've stepped enough into a perspective of self responsibility that it's not them that's my focus. It's who I become in their presence. There are people who I like myself more when I'm around, and other people who I don't really like myself.
So are you saying to us that you have the potential to have all kinds of things activated within you? That you have the potential to have something activated within you that you would call love, and you have the potential of having something activated within you that you would call insecurity or resentment, and that it's somebody else's responsibility to activate only the good stuff?
No, I'm just trying to learn how to be more selective and more discerning in how I direct my own life so that I attract more people that I feel good around. And
well, that's a wonderful way of putting it, and that's what we want for you too. But we want to say to you, you can't get there by noticing that other people have characteristics that you don't like. Because when you notice they've got them, you activate them, and now you attract them. It's like saying, oh, there are people out there that have stuff that I don't like, and it's like that and that and that. Oh, I'm getting more. Yeah, that. Yeah, that. Yeah, that. Yeah, I hate that. Yeah, that. Yeah, that. Yeah, that. Oh, man, the whole world. That. Yeah, that. Is anybody absent of that? Because you get what you think about whether you want it or not. And so as we began this conversation, you wanted to talk about what they've got wrong with them that causes you to look at it and then to get it. And we want to bring you back to your point of empowerment by saying there are all kinds of things out there that you don't want. You don't go to the cookie counter and say, they've got those peanut butter cookies. I cannot stand those peanut butter cookies. Why would you have peanut butter cookies? I'm sure no one likes them. I hate peanut butter cookies. I refuse to choose any cookies until you take those away.
There's plenty of other cookies.
There's plenty of other things for you to focus upon except the thing that's bothering you.
Right.
These narcissistic cookies.
Maybe if I call them cookies from now on, I won't take it as seriously.
Maybe if you accept their right to be as they are and you exercise your ability to focus where you feel best. And the thing that's really interesting about that is that every one of these people who have these characteristics that are driving you crazy have other characteristics that you would like if you could focus upon them. You can become a selective enough sifter that you can get the best out of every cookie you focus upon. We're not kidding. Even people who have overtly obnoxious tendencies, you can focus around them and have meaningful relationships. Now, we're not saying that you have to do that. We're just saying to you that when you are in alignment with who you are. Now, that, for example. We're just playing with you. Very annoying. That is truly annoying. And if we based our entire relationship with him upon the fact that he did not turn off his telephone,
it's on vibrate. So
we would never be able to tolerate him again. But he has so many other redeeming features. He's been responsible for some of the best material that has ever flowed through this forum. Therefore, what's a little telephone in the middle of a recorded session? So, tell us again what your trouble with narcissism is, with awareness of self and caring about self? Do you think it's because what's really bothers you about a person like that? How does that negatively impact you? You behave in ways that bother me. Is that the extent of it?
Oh no, it goes deeper than that.
What? How deep?
I start to feel confused. I feel chaos in my own vibration because part of me wants to search for a way to look for the best, to have compassion, to connect on areas where, because usually these are not black and white. Usually I'm talking about people that there are aspects of them that I love, often very much. And then these other things come in and I feel chaos in the sense that I'm trying to dance around two very different emotions. One of love and connection, and one of I start to feel very defensive and like I need to protect myself and cut off.
Well, whenever you feel negative emotion, it always means that what you're giving your attention to has you out on the raw and ragged edge apart from your source. Mm-hmm. So what you just said and what your emotions mean is that when you feel negative emotion, it means you have isolated a behavior or a property of whatever your object of attention is mm-hmm. in a way that your inner being will not do. Mm-hmm. In other words, you've pinpointed something that the source within you is not willing to pinpoint. Mm. Sometimes Esther will say, come on, Abraham, you got to give me this one. Come over here and complain with me about this. Yeah. Because I know I'm right. I know I'm justified. I know I'm valid. I know almost everybody in the world, at least the world I like best, would agree with me. So why are you not willing to come over here and complain? And we say, because we, in our part of this co-creative experience, our agreement is, as source energy, that when you define what you want, we will give our attention to what you want, not the opposite of it. Mm-hmm. In other words, the reason that the universe, the reason that we can promise you that your world, that all worlds, that the universe, that all that is becoming better and more, is because with each exposure to each thing you don't want, you ask for what you do want, and source energy becomes that. And we think that what you're talking about, that you're assigning to another and giving a label that may or not be accurate, it doesn't matter, that what you're really talking about, and you said it best with your last words to us, you are feeling the chaos of your split energy because of the way some people are, and therefore you don't like them. And we say, you just gotta say, be how you want to be. I will use my ability to focus. I will stay in alignment regardless of what you're doing.
So, 2 years ago, I went through a relationship that taught me everything about myself that I know today. It challenged me and it made me want to be the best person that I possibly could be.
Why?
Because it made me know what I didn't want.
So it made you want to be the best person that you could be. Finish that sentence. For who?
For me.
Good.
And in order to do that, I had to walk away from the relationship completely. I had to cut off all communications. I had to stop listening to the opinion that was very strong about me, that seemed to be the cause of a problem. And it was with someone who, in my eyes, was suffering from a very strong addiction to negativity, which was manifesting itself in a way that was substance-oriented.
Well, we agree that it is sometimes easier to walk away. It's easier to focus yourself in a good place when there's not someone standing right next to you beating a really negative drum. But then what do you do when the next person is standing there? Walk away from them too?
No. Actually, the new person is fantastic. So the question is, is my desire really. I've always lived a life of love. I have wonderful mentors from my childhood who created that in me, and I dreamed myself out of Mississippi to New York and got to the New York City Ballet, and really have had a fantastic time. And this particular relationship sort of dropped me out of the sky because I didn't walk into it really wanting it. I just allowed it to happen, and it sort of created this turmoil for me. So then I cleaned it all up, and now what I really would like to do is be in contact with that person. I have this sensation that I would like to be able to flow to them, or to... I keep thinking, when is the right place to maybe... Because I love them.
When you're in the vortex and you're looking at anything, that is a normal response. In other words, if you're really tuned into who you are, then the way you feel about whatever is your object of attention is the way the source within you feels about it. But we want to walk back through this scenario just a little bit. So from your explanation, you had a tumultuous experience where you put a lot into your vortex, and you found that you could not really rendezvous with what you'd put into your vortex until you really withdrew your attention from what was preventing you from being in the vortex. Is that an accurate statement?
Yes.
And you found that by walking away completely, that you were able to find vibrational alignment with who you really are.
Almost immediately.
And as you found vibrational alignment with who you really are, it feels exhilarating, and now you're so tuned to the wanted aspects of everything, because you're in sync with who you really are, that now you're beginning to turn your attention back to something that formerly took you out of the vortex. But now it's not taking you out of the vortex when you give your attention to it.
No.
So the question, and this is the most significant way of, in a short period of time, getting to the core of what's percolating within you. Do you believe that your desire to interact with that person again is because you believe that in doing so you will feel better still? Or is your desire to interact with them about showing them how easy it is and how much better it is to feel good? What do you think your reason is? Is it to enhance the alignment that you have rediscovered, or is it to introduce that alignment to the other person? Is it a rescue mission?
No. It was at one time, but it is not anymore.
So describe that to us just a little bit, briefly.
The reason that I want to do this? I think it's because
as we feel your vibration about this, every reason that is surfacing around that is an out of the vortex reason. In other words,
well, this is I've known that. I mean, I know that, and when the thought comes to me, but I think then, why do I seem to really want it?
Well, what you really want is alignment with who you are, and a lot of who you became as a result of that relationship. That relationship was what caused you to put into your vortex what you've put there, and now you've rendezvoused with what you've put there. And it's logical that those that helped you become it are tied to it in some way. But we want you to understand that what you're craving, what you're reaching for, this desire that keeps welling up within you, is about more and more complete alignment with who you are. It's not about going back and reworking that. Really, it isn't.
Okay. I mean, I feel that. I just had to come in front of you and ask.
Be easy about it. And as you feel appreciation and only appreciation about all those parts that helped you to become this, and then you just keep reaching for this alignment, as you're inside the vortex, there is a possibility that this other may come and you may rendezvous there. But if you go outside your vortex for the rendezvous, you lose ground, you don't gain ground. And at this point, you'd be outside. Good time for a segment of lunch.
All right. So, some really interesting and powerful insight I feel there. Usually, let's start, at the beginning of the first one there, I thought that was an interesting point. Usually someone in alignment is confident and kind. And I think that is really important when analyzing this situation. Is confidence is kindness happening? You don't shout at a child falling down. You're not abusive or aggressive or abrasive. That's not helpful. And when we're in alignment, others triggering us, we're not self-conscious or critical of others. If you maintain alignment, you're not threatened by someone else's imbalances, right? I always say, guys, smooth seas never made for a skilled sailor. And are we getting the opportunity here to become more skilled sailors? I think I am. I believe I am. Why would you make someone so important you label them a struggle, she said to the first guy. She said, you think their behavior must be necessary for your own well-being. It's not. Any of these challenging situations are providing the contrast that causes us to ask. We have control of our own alignment, she went back to over and over again. And really, as she said, that's all you've got, and luckily all you need. She said, I love focus leads to alignment, leads to your point of attraction. Where you focus, that leads to where you're aligning. Where you're aligning leads to what's your point of attraction. You have all kinds of things, and this is back what I was talking to at the beginning. We have the potential to have all kinds of things activated, right? So which ones are you focusing on? Because, with this controversial, figure in the Facebook group, they've had, that's the thing about it. They've had a lot really powerful to say, right? That I certainly was, enjoyed and appreciated. Now, I think maybe what then triggered me is how then they're sort of claiming that, it's the only one who's capable of ever using the power of words to unlock or help people to grow. And then it's like, hold on, you're really good, but that's sort of an overstatement in my opinion. And then, these sort of triggers come up of like, I don't know, this is like narcissism, but when you notice the things you don't like, you attract more of those. She talked about there's plenty of other cookies to choose from. Accepting their right to be who they are and exercise your right to focus elsewhere. And learning to become a selective sifter so that you find the best out of every cookie, right? And we get these, and certainly in this situation, I've had both dancing with the idea of love and connection with this person, certainly have experienced that, and defensiveness with this person. And, when you're feeling defensive, negative emotion, you're apart from the source. You've pinpointed something that the source will not pinpoint. Source has an agreement with us. When we define what we want, we give attention to what we want, not the opposite of it. And, what we've been all feeling is the chaos of our split energy, right? So it makes me question instantly, what if everyone in the group were all of a sudden to give this person just so much love and only focus on love? What could they rise up and all of a sudden be this bright, shiny reflection of love that yields all sorts of gifts, right? Or, is it, as another wise friend told me, like, hey, there are divisive energies out there, and one has entered your world. It's obvious. There's archetypes. This is a very divisive one. And it's very important that you cut it off and give it no more energy. I hear that. I hear it. Like, I'm really pondering these, they're very different approaches. And I would say they both have validity, right? So what do we create next if we are the creator of it all? And, in the second video, she said it, because sometimes it's easier to walk away. It's natural to feel the desire to still feel love towards someone when you're in alignment. And, she said in that one, hey, going back and reworking, you're now in the vortex, going back to something that was not in alignment isn't really, I think, the answer. So this is it, guys. This is the juicy goodness. And, a lot of times I have very, very strong ideas about what I think is the best path. And, I really am seeing, there's multiple things here that all have validity. Truly, what would happen if we all of a sudden just gave this person that has been labeled as narcissistic or whatever all the love that they sought and validation that they've been so desperately seeking, giving stats after stats of why they're the best over and over and over on loop, right? Like a broken record. What if all of a sudden, yes, you're amazing, wonderful, right? What would happen? I don't know, but I'm curious. I'm really curious, and I'm not claiming I 100% know where it's going to go from here. I just know I want what's best for everyone, and I appreciate everyone, and I appreciate this opportunity, this growth edge. It's a good one. It's one of the most challenging ones I've bumped up against. And so I will continue to feel into it, sit with it, and love to hear anyone's feedback on any of this. And there's been certainly a lot of feedback, and I imagine there will be plenty more. And any of you who are sort of fretting over it and feel like the group is forever transformed into something that is divisive because of this personality that's entered, I can assure you that's not going to happen on any person. Either this person will be transformed completely into this incredible contributing factor, or ultimately we're going to make the choice to collectively walk away. Even the voting process, that's already, what most people have voted for by and large. But I want to just really all check ourselves. I want us all to drop in with this and say, what is this showing us about ourselves? What is the highest, greatest path that we can possibly take? I love each and every one of you who are taking this journey with me, and it is truly an honor and a pleasure to learn. I am humbly learning here, and it is a beautiful process, and I'm just grateful and appreciative of it. With that being said, I do have, this is to be continued, but in the meantime, I have a track to leave you guys with. An artist that I really love, Tor. And this one, speaking of looping, this one's called Loop Theory. Hope you enjoy it. Until next time, journey well. Love you all so much. Also, if you're craving more consciousness elevating content, be sure to check out Gaia, which is my personal go-to source for streaming consciousness content on the web, where you can stream an incredible 7,000 plus exclusive videos covering 5,000 years of wisdom. As you all hear me constantly say, it's a daily conscious effort to maintain an elevated vibration. And if you're looking to journey deep down the rabbit hole to do so, then Gaia is the best place I know of to do it, period. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out.